Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button to always get my updates. In this short tutorial, we'll talk about the actual difference between extend and append. So let's get started. So basically, we'll begin by creating two lists. In my previous video, I showed how we can play with lists and the different operations. So if you haven't watched it, please do. So let's get started with L equals a list, maybe of numbers 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5. All right. And then if we just try to check the type of this object L, that will give us list. So this data type of data is a list. And then now let's create another list R, given by maybe 0, -2, -3, and then T. Alright, so T being a string. So when we do that, now we have created these two lists, L and R. Now let's try to see what actually extend function does. Alright, extend function does. So I'll use list L and apply the function extend on it using list R. So I'm going to say L.extend R, and then finally let's print out the new updated list of L. So when I do that, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, -2, -3, and T as a string. So what actually extend does is to simply grab all the elements of list R and adds them inside list L, alright, one by one. And so this means that if you consider the previous length of L, which was of 5 members, now it has been extended to actually, I think, 9. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so if we try to check the length of L now, it will take us to 9. So it has been extended from 5 up to 9. So that is what is meant by extend. Alright, extend function, and that is how it works. So let's try to return L back to its original condition. So to do that, I'm going to simply do a simple for loop and remove all the elements of R from L. So I will say for J in R, right, because these are elements of R that I want to remove. If J is in L, alright, and then what I'm going to do, perform an operation of remove from L all the J elements, and then finally I want a print out of L after when all is done. So when I run this is going to take us back to the original list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now L is now in its original state. So let's try to look at what the append function does. Alright, so because it tries to confuse some people, especially when you're new to Python, what is append and what is extend. So I'll again look at L and then say append R. So if I try to print that again, this is going to give us a new L. Alright, so as you can observe and see what has happened, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and then another nested list right here as it is. So R has been brought in the same state as it is, and then nested within L. So the actual difference is here. Extend simply adds all the elements as it is and increases the size of the original list by the size of this new extended list to that. but what append does, append simply adds this full list as it is, and then the original list will simply be extended in terms of size by only one. Alright, so if I look at, for example, length of air right now, it will simply give us 6. Alright, so because this is just considered as one element, but if we, in terms of accessing these elements here, then that means this is in the 5th position, because this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now we can start looking at the positions of whatever is inside. So basically this is the actual difference between append and extend. So whenever I want to add all the elements of a certain list within another list, then simply do the extend and all the terms will be simply added to the other list. Alright, so in other ones, if you want to create either matrices manually, you can use the append by adding list within lists to create these multi-dimensional lists. Otherwise, if you want to add another way of avoiding search is to simply use a for loop. For example, for I in R, alright, then I can simply go adding one by one to L. Then I can say L dot append I. Alright, so what happens here, but it won't work this time because I still have these elements right here, unless we remove this. But let's see what happens. So if I do that, then I can print out L. So let's see if we do this and what will happen. So what we can observe is that if you go back to our R, alright, which is 0, minus 2, minus 3, and then T. So for all the items in R, then I've added one by one in my L, and that this is what we see: 0, minus 2, minus 3, and minus T. So in other words, if you want to avoid this addition of a full list, the only way to go about this is by using the for loop that adds one element by one to the previous list. So then it will be the same as the